Guys, I'm back with another screencast. Just before we get into the meat of today's screencast, I just want to talk to you about the reviews I received of my first screencast. Showed it to my parents. I am back for the night before I go to the dentist tomorrow morning. So the only real feedback that I received was the fact that my background just wasn't exactly applicable to the subculture of Jalapeno Sub. So I'm going to change it up to this beautiful sub we have going on right here. Nice, crisp cutting board. You have some crispy lettuce. These red tomatoes look extremely succulent. Some tuna, get your daily protein. Tons of jalapenos. Now, I was a little bit concerned about throwing this up so early in the screencast because the number of jalapenos here really speaks towards screencast number 50, 60, maybe even 70. Just tons of jalapenos here, really spicy sub. I'll provide a little kick to you while you're eating that one. And then you have the plain bun, which again is always going to be a metaphor for your plain life without jalapeno sub screencasts. So let's get into the meat of today's screencast. We're going to be looking at a library called Geocoder. I use it sometimes if I want to do some some mapping, particularly with Google Maps. So let's look into the documentation there. We'll open up Chrome. We're going to go to the npm library, type in Geocoder, see what it has to offer. So this tells us how to install it, but do we really want to install this one? There were some other options. You had no Geocoder, no to open Geocoder. And you can see just the main differences here. This one, the first one here is a simple wrap around Google's Geocoder API, whereas this one supports Google Maps, MapQuest, OpenStreetMap. This one supports OpenStreetMap. So there's a ton of different options here. Let's just go with the most simple one for now. We can always change it up later if we'd like. Go there, and then this tells you how to install it. But before installing it, I always like to look at the first number of downloads. This one seems to be downloaded a decent amount, which leads to me to believe that it's somewhat popular and has been vetted a little bit. And so this is pretty much what we're looking for here. So in the documentation, it gives you a really quick example of how you would use this geocoder. So I'm at the point where I'm willing to install it and start playing around. So since this is episode 2, we're going to make a directory. We're going to touch out a new file for cold places. We'll just do cold place. We're only going to do one today. And we're going to look at that in our Sublime here. Oops. We're going to move cold place into 002.js. And you'll see that it's been moved from here all the way into here. Crazy stuff. So like normal, if you go back to the documentation, you go var geocoder equals require geocoder. So you go var geocoder equals require geocoder. Good stuff. Doesn't work like normal, so we're going to have to install it. And that has been installed because if we run it now, it completes, it finishes. So if we're looking at this documentation, you can see that the geocoder library does take one parameter, which is a location. It has another parameter, which is an anonymous function callback, and that has if it returned an error, meaning that it wouldn't be able to find it, or for some reason that it didn't recognize this as a string, which is somewhat likely. And then the data would be the data regarding the actual results of the geocoding of whatever location is put in here. You can also do it the opposite way. The opposite would be you input latitude and longitude, and again it would return some sort of data or information. So we're going to stick with the most simple one today. It's just here. Good stuff. And so before we run that, because this is the second screencast, we're going to keep it cold. We're going to keep it really chilly. And I did a little research, so I kind of know where I'm going here. So just trust me. So I did So what I came up with is a Huffington Post article, and you can see that this article has a ton of different locations. It's huffingtonpost.ca, so I am in Canada. You can see that this one here is just freezing. Minus 61 degrees Celsius in Canada, Alberta. Another one in the Northwest Territories, Canada. It's Prospect Creek in Alaska. Snag, Yukon, Canada. A lot of places in Canada. Obviously, it was written in Canada. Then you get into some of the more distance locations from me. So Greenland, Russia, Antarctica, just freezing cold place. So getting into here, we have East Antarctica, which we're going to be looking up today. So we're just going to plug that in here. East Antarctica, and that's going to do something. Okay, it runs nicely. So that means that we didn't have an error, and we could do the error game, but we're not going to do that for now. So we're going to console log out the data here. Good stuff. And you have results. So we're going to do data results. Results returns an array. You can see here it's wrapped with this array here. So we're going to grab result 0. And now we have these address components. So we're going to do results address components. Actually, instead of address components, we're going to do geometry because we want to return the longitude, latitude, and you can see that it is a few children away from the highest level here. So we're going to do geometry, and then after that we can just do a location. And you can see that we get the longitude, the latitude and longitude. We'd actually even throw that into a variable. Go var latitude equals this dot lat, var longitude equals that plus lng, and you can see you're grabbing those properties from this object here. So we're going to do lat plus space plus lng, and you get an output. This is the longitude and latitude of East Antarctica, which is a freezing location. So we're going to go over to maps. Obviously my Mac is starting to conk out on me here. Pull this up. If we go out enough. And there we go. This place here is freezing. Truly, truly cold. Yeah. So that's the real benefit here, is that you can put in a location, come up with a result. That's good for a lot of things. So if you're hosting an event and you want to show the location of your house, you're going to go have a party in Antarctica, you can also do that too. Or at least you can let people know where they should show up. Obviously you should give them a time or something, so you can make sure that you're there or not there. I guess you would never be there because it's freezing there. I don't know why you'd want to go there. Anyways, so that's the Daily Spice of Your Life. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any feedback. Talk to you guys later.